it's Max at KRUZ at 106.7. We're getting ready for another year of Savour. Check out the dates at the bottom here, and we'd love to see you in downtown Green Bay. One of the great aspects of food is there are things that you can pair with food, and one of those things is one of my favorite things. That would be beer. And I've got, that was a long road to take to that, but I think you understand. I got Brad here from Wisco Disco, most specifically as well. We saw each other last year, and I just want to point out, this is his house, basically. When you see behind you, authorities, this is not a meth lab. This is a legal beer making contraption, and I'm sure there's a different word for it.
Correct. So this is essentially what I consider my pilot system for creating new brands and new recipes for Wisco Disco. This is where Wisco was born, was on this system, and it's really our very small batch way of brewing beer to dial in recipes and get just what we want before we take it to like a very big scale production.
It's sort of a testing thing too.
It's a testing
thing. So
it
pays to be a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying out something new. Why don't you come over on a Saturday evening?
That's right. Yeah, this is friends and
How long does it take from inception to the alcohol?
Yeah, so this process here in the brew house is about a 5-hour day, start to finish. From the time we turn on heat until we've actually got a full fermentation vessel ready to take yeast. Then it's another 2 weeks of fermenting, kind of maturation process, and then we finish it with carbonation at the end and put it on tap. Give it a try.
So altogether about 2.5 weeks maybe?
Yeah, 2.5, 3 weeks. 21-day cycle is what I recommend for Wisco, and most ales are about 21-day cycle.
And like you said, this is where Wisco Disco was actually made, so are there like friends and family out there that said, I tasted that first?
Yeah, for years now, absolutely. And it's been a recipe that we've brewed for our family for a number of years, long before it was ever launched into a production recipe. And there were some tweaks that we did make going into full-time production that have more to do with proper shelf life and storage for packaging.
Right.
But those are all things that I think only help preserve and bring really, really great beer to anybody that's buying it off the
And it's great because it's local.
Yeah.
You know, this is something where you could tell people around the country you can only get this here.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of my favorite parts about it. I mean, fresh beer is really, really important, and keeping it close to home helps us on a very small scale keep it fresh. So yeah, Green Bay and Appleton, Fox Valley, that's the only place you can find Wisco Disco anywhere in the world. We're just starting to open up Door County with the summer season up there, and that'll be a really nice market for us this summer.
And Savour is about food and beer as well.
Yep.
So let's say, I don't want to say you're on death row, but let's say you got a last meal.
Sure.
And you're gonna, the only beer you can have, of course, is Wisco Disco because that's the best. What would you eat with that? What's the best pairing you think you could find?
Sure. So my role here in town for the last number of years has been working on beer and food pairings for a lot of restaurants and local events, much like Savour.
Right.
And so part of the design of Wisco Disco and part of these little small changes that we made when we took it to production were with the idea of food and marrying beer and food together, much like wine and food is and has been for a long time. So we added a small amount of lactose to Wisco Disco. That allowed us to add a little bit more hops. Lactose is a milk sugar, so a sweetener in a sense. By being a little bit sweeter, we can add a little bit more hops. Hops do all kinds of cool stuff. They're a good preservative. They help for really nice foam and head retention.
Right.
They're really nice to smell. So now we've got more hops and more a little bit more sugar, which is lactose is also non-fermentable, so it stays in the liquid all the way from the brewing process all the way to.
It doesn't boil out or anything.
It doesn't boil out. The yeast can't metabolize it, so it doesn't break down. It really stays in all the way to your glass at the table. Now it's lactose. Let's talk cheese. I mean, I'm a Wisconsin kid growing up.
Right.
Beer and cheese was always it. So for me, yeah, cheese curds, beer cheese soup, cheeseburgers, bring it on.
Fine cheese curds?
Yeah, give me a can of Wisco, pint of Wisco Disco, and some cheese, and I'm a happy guy.
That sounds fantastic, man. And throw a steak on there too. If you want.
Why not? Put some cheese on your steak.
I like that idea. I like that idea. All with Wisco Disco. This is Brad once again. He will be down at Savour, so you can ask him all the questions you want, and he'll tell you exactly what it's all about.
Absolutely.